Hi everyone, today we're going to talk about fungus gnats. So we get asked quite a bit about fungus gnats, especially from keen houseplant growers, and they're not quite sure why some plants have it and others don't. The main reason you get fungus gnats is from overwatering. And the reason why some plants get it over others is because just because they're next to each other doesn't actually mean they need the same amount of water. As soon as you start overwatering plants, you start making them susceptible to getting bugs and diseases, and one of those risks come from fungus gnats. So fungus gnats love damp soil, and they also carry a thing called pythium, which we know as dampening off. So what happens is, because they're attracted to the wet soil, they'll come in, they'll be crawling around the surface and having a bit of fun, and they'll lay their larvae on the soil. That larvae hatches, it burrows down in the soil, and it starts eating away at the roots. Now, if you keep your plants wet or in sources of water, you're going to perpetuate this issue. So after those guys have had a good old nibble, they start getting into adults, they come back up and they start living on the soil of the surface, and they start laying their larvae again, and you're repeating the cycle. So fungus gnats like to feed on the fungi that's in the soil, and by keeping it wet, you're attracting this fungi, whether it's natural or not. So the first thing you need to do is you need to reduce your watering. You also need to make sure that your plants aren't sitting in water, so especially if you've got cover pots that you sit your normal pot inside of, or if you have a saucer that you leave water in the bottom of it, it's not really a good idea, and you're actually going to perpetuate the situation with the fungus gnats. So after they've had a good water and it's been a couple of hours, my tip to you is to then go and empty out any saucers that have got water still left in them, or empty out your cover pots, and that's going to be the first thing to help. The second thing you need to do is you need to reduce your watering dramatically. And this is going to take about 2 to 3 weeks before you start seeing the effect on how this is working. Drying out the soil is going to stop the fungus gnats in its tracks. So the best thing you can do is you can alter your watering to stop it. The other thing you can do is you can get watering indicators if you're not sure about what you're doing wrong, or how often you should be watering your plant, or whether it's still wet or not. The best moisture meter that we recommend is the one by KiwiCare. It's a really good product. So the other thing to note is we've just talked about the life cycle. So how do you know whether it's just on the soil surface or whether it's in the soil? By drying out the plant, it doesn't really matter. You're going to help kill the larvae that's in the soil or that's burrowing down as well. But if you just think you've got it on the surface, the best thing to do to kill those adults in their track is to use the KiwiCare houseplant insect spray. It's really good. It's going to kill all those ones on the surface. The other thing you can do if you're not sure whether you've got fungus gnats or not is you can get these sticky labels from us, and they will catch some of the adults if you put them in plants, and I've got 3 on there, but they've been there for about 2 or 3 months, so I know that I'm all good. However, if you've had fungus gnats for a good few months, the problem is probably going to be quite bad in your soil. So the first thing I recommend you doing is getting a product from KiwiCare called Lordan Pro Petite. As you can see, it's a product really for the lawn, but what it is a soil insect killer. So you can sprinkle this around your plants, and as you're watering it, it's going to seep down into the plant, and as the bugs are chewing, they're going to ingest this chemical, and it's going to stop them in their tracks. Obviously, there's a bit of a problem with this one, and that is because you have to water to make it active. So you need to still be really cautious that you're not overwatering, because otherwise you're defeating the purpose of using the product in the first place. If this doesn't work, then what you need to do is you need to repot your plants. You should only do this in severe cases, because the plant's already going to be under immense stress because its roots have been eaten away. You'll see the plant starting to collapse. It means your soil's still too wet, so you need to reduce your watering. But if you do need to repot, you need to be really cautious. So one, the soil shouldn't be used in your compost pile or in your garden. It should be washed off the roots as much as possible with lukewarm water. Don't use hot water, don't use cold water, because it will put the plant in shock, and then repot it. Obviously, going into a new pot, again, be careful of overwatering. You're just going to start the problem all over again. Get rid of the soil, chuck it in a bin, and then hopefully you'll be able to control the watering a lot better, and you'll stop the problem in its tracks. A really cool tip that a lot of people don't know about is using apple cider vinegar. So what you do is put an inch into like an old ramekin or into a glass jar that's gone through the wash, and the fungus gnats, or the adults fungus gnats, are attracted to the smell and the sweetness of the vinegar. No, you can't use other types of vinegar. It really needs to be apple cider vinegar. And if you put this in around your plants, you'll be really surprised at how quickly it catches the fungus gnats. You will notice that after a while the apple cider vinegar will obviously start to evaporate and it'll become quite thick. Then just top it up with a bit of water to get it back to a decent level, or otherwise tip it out, give your container a wash out, and then re-pour in some more apple cider vinegar. It's a really, really awesome wee way, and you'll be surprised at how many you catch. So just to wrap it up, stop watering so much, each plant's different. You're going to have to learn which plants you've got an issue with and then reduce the watering on those plants. Don't keep it in a source of water. Don't keep water in your cover pots. Make sure you're tipping those out, especially in these cooler seasons. And if you have to, there's obviously products you can use like the Kiwi Care Houseplant Insect Spray. You've got the Lordan Pro Petite if you think it's down in the soil, or you've got repotting. But the best thing you can do is reduce your watering. I hope this helps. If you have any questions, just let me know in the comments below. But otherwise, fungus gnats are actually quite easy to get rid of. Reduce your watering, you should be able to clean it up pretty easily. Thanks guys.